Hello, everyone. A very good evening to you all. Thank you so much for joining us on the Focus of the Month session for month of March 2023. And it is one of the most important topics that's going to change your life. Because today you're going to decide on how do you do the research about your B school to which you're going to apply. And trust me that selecting a B school and deciding that you want to go there and actually getting an admit there is going to be life changing in terms of how it affects your careers. So we are going to be talking a little bit about it, and I'm going to give you a very systematic approach to it. If you know me, I'm a former engineer, and I like to think of using decision frameworks in order to help you in making one of the most important decisions in your life, right? So definitely today you're going to be looking at a couple of very important frameworks that is going to help you to decide how to shortlist the set of schools that you want to apply to, but most importantly, how to start the research on these schools. So with that, I'm sure that you must have seen me before in some of these webinars. If not, you're going to continue seeing me in some of the other webinars as well. I'm one of the co-founders of Career Labs, and most interestingly, I lead the admissions consulting services here. And I also have a role at Association of International Graduate Admissions Consultants, which is AGAC, where I've held, I've been a board member and I've held the president role for multiple times. So with this, you might be wondering, like, what does this help you? I am able to get the most important information from the admissions directors and then pass it on to them, pass it on to you directly. And that's exactly what I look to do today with the thing. So if you haven't watched some of our Focus of the Month sessions, see, as the name suggests, Focus of the Month is to help you decide what you're supposed to do every month, keeping in mind your deadlines for round one. Okay. And I'm going to tell you that in a minute. If you haven't already done so, we've already done two most important sessions. One is a session where we help you decide the timelines, the intakes, and how to draft your resume, which I always say your resume is your currency to get into B school. The second thing we did was helping you identify your post MBA goal. Okay, and this was a supplement to a career goals workshop. A career goals live workshop is what we do, and it's followed by this important focus of the month session where you get some extra information and a lot of supplementary information on making this effective. Okay, so there is a Career Labs course portal, and you can log into it in two ways. One is you can log into it with the Career Labs ID here. So wherein you're going to go with, the lms.thecareerlab.com, and then you're going to, rather the site, I didn't mean ID, sorry, the site, and then you're going to go to your registered Google ID and then go for it, or else you can also go into the unified portal, which is the servicing portal, and then look at the courses and then access the courses from there. So there are two possible ways of doing it, and whichever one that you have, you can take it up. All right. Now you might be wondering, like, see, why should you go into this kind of a course platform, right? The reason for that is because you have dedicated modules that talk about your application journey. You have a checklist for all kinds of worksheets and resources that can help you during the process. And there are like recordings like these where we talk about the important topics. And then, of course, this is a very good space for you to discuss with me as well as my team here. Okay. So this portal, I'm just going to request one of my colleagues to go through this. So just give me a second while we change.
Hi everyone. So right now I'm presenting the classroom portal, course portal, which we have for you. So if you log into the portal, this is the login page which you reach on. So here you have options such as username, password, plus, but please don't make utilization of that. Rather go for the Google option and try to log in through the registered Gmail ID which you have registered with us. So I will click on this Google option. Then it will take me to this page. Then with my registered Gmail ID, I'm going to enter. Yeah, and here I have access to one of the courses here. So here I'm moving on to the ACS MBA 2024, the Gateway to MBA, with which you also have got access to. So I'm going to click on it, and inside this, there are different sections over here which you can go through one by one. So there are important tools, focus of the month sessions, B School Showdown. There's some additional resources. In addition to that, there are some modules as well which you can go through one by one. So one of the elements which I'm going to show you, because also in the upcoming months, we are going to have many of the focus of the month sessions, some additional workshops, boot camps. So I will request all of you to join. And just to know when that session is happening, I will request you to go through this calendar option. If you could see this calendar option, if you click on it, it will take you to your calendar. And through that, you will know when are the sessions happening. So as you are having a session today, which is the FOM sessions, we are getting an update about it over here. In the next week, we are planning to have a CD bootcamp. So you're also going to get update about it over here. And if you move on to the next month itself for April, you again know when your next focus of the month session is happening. So please keep a check on your calendar to understand whenever the workshops and bootcamps are happening, and please try to attend those live sessions, because as you know, if you attend these sessions, you are going to get interaction with us. Yeah, I'm going to just quickly hand over to Kritika ma'am once again.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Romi, for helping us with that. So that is it. It is so easy to access the course portal, and I hope that you're able to access this as well. So if you can just quickly tell us if you have access to it, that'll be great. Because this is a place where we really like put in a lot of effort in order to make sure that you're getting the right information. All right. So I want to give you a quick recap. We did have the career goals workshop, and then there is another one that is happening tomorrow. So if you have not attended a live career goals workshop, this is a good time for you to do so. That is happening tomorrow at 1 o'clock. And then you can also check the recording in the course portal, as I said, of the two focus of the month sessions that you might have missed right now. Okay. All right, cool. So with that, I'm going to close the polls. I'm going to keep these polls typically open for about like 30 seconds, and then of course you can do it, right? See, once you go into the portal, you saw that what are all the benefits of going there, and just like any other course, this particular course is designed in order to help you understand the whole MBA application process better. Okay, and there are many aids that we have, which is writing aids, as well as like other decision making tools that we have in there that's going to help you. All right, so today we're going to see one of those decision making tools, which is going to be your worksheet. Okay, and last time we saw what we called as an industry research worksheet, which is a starting point. I always tell people whenever you interact with me as to why are you doing an MBA. What is the main reason for doing an MBA? Do you have clarity about why you want to go to B school, or how the school is going to help you, and so on, right? So these tools, or we call it worksheets because they are worksheets in nature. These tools are your best friends, and they just help to make your thinking process easier, as well as for you to know what are all the things to be considered when you're looking at an MBA application. All right. So some of you may already know it, but some of you may not. So please bear with me while I just tell you a little bit about for the benefit of the others. All right. Today we're going to see one important another one, which is the B School Research Worksheet. All right. So we've already seen the industry research worksheet. It's but nothing but you're going to do research about the industry or the domain in which you want to get a job later on after an MBA. All right. And today we're going to look at the B School Research Worksheet, which is another important component. All right. So as always, I'm going to tell you about the timeline and show you how the clock is ticking. But then I'm also going to tell you about the key factors for selecting B schools. Trust me, this is a very interesting topic for me because everybody is motivated differently, and we don't share the same motivation when it comes to approaching something like a B school. So that is exactly why knowing what factors matter the most to you is going to help you to do better research on a school and thereby choose the right school for yourself. So everyone might say, you know what, I want to get into Harvard, I want to get into ISB, I want to get into NUS, I want to get into Rotman. So you might think that you want to get into the best school in any region, in the particular region that you're looking into, okay? But what if I told you that that school may not be the best fit for you? All right. So what if I tell you that Harvard may not be the right fit for somebody, and it has happened before, right? So that is why you have to be very, very clear about what you want from the MBA experience, and then how you're going to be like, getting it for yourself. All right. So please put your questions in um, the answers to this one. Get answers to the questions. Okay, here. So that's going to be great. All right. So just to tell you a quick step of our process, many of you will be coming in, and then you have your CV critiquing, which happens. And then there is an additional supplementary questionnaire that helps us understand better about you. This is your first kind of writing assessment that you take up. Then we have a profile gap analysis, and then of course we go on to the next steps. All right. So right now you should be in the process of shortlisting your B schools. All right. So if you have not come till here, I would request you to speed up and then get to it so that you can go through the rest of the stages. All right, which we'll be talking about in the other sessions to come. You are now in March, where you are supposed to kind of take GMAT. Do not worry. This is an ideal timeline in an ideal world, and we know that you may not be living in an ideal world, but always walk backwards. If you want to start your MBA anytime between April to September of 2024, you have to apply by 2023 September. Okay. Sometimes, if, for example, I am Ahmedabad and other Bangalore and everybody else, they have deadlines as early as August. So some of them are early, but majority of them will have deadlines in September or October of 2023. So that leaves you around 6 months for you to work on things, and that's what we're going to see today. So you please know that your timeline will be very different than somebody else's timeline, as you think about it. Okay. Every single time you're going to see this profile of an applicant, and I keep talking about it more. Last time we talked about the CV, and then we talked about like, why are you even applying for an MBA program and so on. And today we're going to talk about like which program should you apply. So when you're thinking about applying to an MBA, so which program are you going to be applying, and how do you decide that? Okay. So now you might be wondering, hey, you're talking only about an MBA. What about like I came to you for MSBA, I came to you for MS in finance, I came to you for MS in supply chain management, right? It doesn't matter. We are just talking about selecting a B school. It involves any kind of degrees that are coming out of it, especially MBA and even other specialized business masters also. Okay, I'm just using MBA as a proxy. Please note that any degree which the B school gives you has a career outcome associated with it. So it is the responsibility of the business school in order to get you the job that you want after you complete the course. So you have to, or rather the B school has to give you the career associated outcome. And it is like not something like, for example, if I go to an MS in automobile engineering, the school does not need to guarantee me a job. Okay, but if I go to business school, I need to get a job, especially within 3 months of graduation. And that is a metric by which the quality of the B school program is judged. Okay, so as a result of this is something that you will be needing to do. All right, so when we come to the B school selection right now, so these are some of the critical things, and I like to think of it in this manner, is that there are many factors involved, and I like to like split it into this kind of a quadrant. Why not, right? The 2 by 2 matrix. So why not? Okay, so you need to look at what is the quantitative parameters and the qualitative parameters. See, quantitative parameters are very simple: numbers, facts, figures that are available. Example, ISV class size can be around 900, 857, something of that sort. ISV is located in Hyderabad or Mohali. The cost is going to be about 40 lakhs, something of that sort. So you already know these facts and numbers, so very easy to collect from the school. The qualitative parameters are going to be much tougher to understand. See, what is the culture of ISP? How is the peer group there? Who comes there and studies there? What about pedagogy? Like, how do people teach there? Do they have a case method, lectures? Do they have a combination of like practical training, like how it is happening in Ross? Okay, and like so on and so forth. Okay, and then what about consulting projects and other things that they have? What are the features of ISB that will attract? For example, the ELP program and so on. And do you have feedback from alumni who have passed out of ISB for the past 2 years or something? What do they say? the feedback from the current students, what do they say, and of course your career outcomes. So when you're talking about B school selection, there is something like the factors for the applicant, and they can be divided broadly into quantitative and qualitative factors. Okay, but that's not it. This part is very hard to find. This part is a very important part of it, but it is hard to find, and I'm going to show you like how you can do it shortly. All right. And then when you look at the factors for the business school, it is about talking about, hey, what's your undergraduate GPA, what's the college, the major, all these matter. So for example, if you're an Indian male IT engineer, there are just so many of you guys out there. All right. On the other hand, if you are still like, for example, like a consultant who's working in say Bain and like AT Kearney, you're working in PwC, KPMG, Deloitte, wherever, you also might be like lot of number, right? So people who go to business school have certain traits, and they have like, they come from various demographics that are there. So these are the factors that the B school will consider. So where are you coming from in terms of undergrad? What is your academic potential? What is the quality of the experience so far, as well as the quantity? And then of course, in the like, which industry do you belong to, and so on. So these are all quantitative parameters in the sense that they're more factual. And the most hard thing for even for B schools is identifying fit. See, what are your communication abilities? Will you be able to talk about a case study in class? Is your goal appropriate to what you want to do and what the program can offer you? Is there diversity in the profile? And then what about post-MBA employability? Will you be in a position to get a job in what you are targeting after the MBA program? All right. So there are many things that the school also looks for, and they find evidence in your letters of recommendation, the essays, and the interviews. Okay. So just like how you are deciding whether you want to go into a school, the schools are also going to decide about this. Okay. So what you're seeing on my screen is, I'm just telling you, hey, these are the factors. Then you might wonder, then how am I going to use this in order to make a decision about where I'm applying, right? And that is exactly where I came up with the application strategy, and I also came up with the strategy for shortlisting schools. Okay, I'm very proud to tell you about it. And here we go. See, one of the handouts is available directly. It's an Excel sheet. I want you guys to download the handout. I already have it open in the interest of time. So just gonna quickly show you that handout. So please download that handout, and it's gonna look like something of the sort. All right, I hope you downloaded the handout quickly. If so, you can just tell me with a yes or something. And okay, 1 minute. I just have to open it again. All right, so we are here, and we're now going to open the B School Research Worksheet, which is here. Sorry, oops. Give me a second. I'm just opening it up, and better to go. There it is. Sorry. Oh, sorry, it's right here. And when you open it, you're going to find something very interesting and nice like this. Okay, so there are multiple tabs here. I want you to pay attention to the tabs, and I'm just going to show you. So see, first thing is you have to understand what are information resources, right? Or sources rather. See, where am I going to get information for filling this particular school? Number one, employment statistics. You have tons of it. I'm giving you examples of the employment statistics, as you can see on the screen. And then I'm sure it is on your screen. It is much easier for you guys to look at it and zoom at it and all that. So I'm just going to go down here. You can see a lot of employment statistics on this one. I'm going to show you with a couple examples as well. And then the second most important information that you'll find is class profile. Every school is going to tell you about the class profile. Like for example, what was a GMAT or the GRE? GRE is becoming more popular, obviously. and GMAT came up with a new edition called as a focus edition, which is much smaller, sorry, a shorter test rather, I should be clear. And yes, it has 3 sections of 45 minutes, that's it, so it's pretty exciting news, and I'm going to be writing about it soon. So yeah, so you are going to get the information for filling this sheet from two sources, two big sources. One is the employment statistics, which is available in every B school, and then also the class profile that is available in every website of B schools as well. Okay. Now, on your own time later on, I would request you to go through these instructions. It is very useful for you, but I'm going to explain all this instruction to you. Okay. So this is going to be the magical sheet that we will work on today. To do what? To make sense of the factors that you saw. You saw that there are so many factors for the applicant. There are so many factors for the the B school. Now, how do you know like what is the school that's the right school for you? Because to be very honest, on the FT rankings, you have some really good 100 schools out there, and any of the schools can give you the education that you're looking for. So then, how do you decide? Okay, and then if you look at many rankings, there are like schools are differently ranked. For example, the unfortunate incident that happened with Wharton did not get ranked at all this year. It was like kind of like not part of the survey because your alumni did not send in the requisite numbers that was needed for that school. Okay, so we can really rankings are not a great source of to help you make decisions. They're a good source to start. Okay, so then how do you make the selection is why I have a very nice technique. As I told you, one of my jobs before was to build these kind of matrices and of course like a lot of these things, right? So I'm going to show you something very exciting today. Is we have a very nice approach of deciding what are the factors that are going to be most important to you, and then accordingly filtering the schools based on that. Okay, I'm going to show you with the sample here. So this particular step 1 is you can go and fill it up. So for example, I can go, I'm just going to make it bigger and say, so which region do I want to go? You know what? I might say I want to get into the United States or something like that, or United Kingdom. Okay. And then let's see, what is the salary that I minimum want? I want $120,000 per annum. That is going to be the salary that I want. Okay. And then you can talk about what is the cost of studying in a particular university. I can say that, hey, I don't want it to go beyond 1 crore, and 1 crore would be about like, 80 something, right? So so you can always like think about that. Sorry, did I say 1 crore, right? So you might say 1 crore or 1.5 crores because some of the schools are much expensive. Sorry, that will be around like $200,000 or something of that sort. My math got a little rusty there. So you can say like for everything I want to go and keep it like this, right? So like this, you can see that you're trying to fill up an ideal preference for each of the factors. See, what is the ideal duration of the course that you want? I want like 1 year. Okay, some of you will say, I don't care, I want 2 years. Okay, now I'm going to go to the sample, which is the next sheet here, and then show you how we have filled it and then explain this to you a little bit. Okay, make it a little bigger, and there we go. 1 minute. Just give me a second while my computer is responding. Okay, so anyway, as you saw, for any factor, see, for example, I said I want to go and study in the United Kingdom. So how important it is? It's a very important thing for me. I want to go and study in the United Kingdom. And then am I willing to negotiate on it, or am I willing to like change it? Am I willing to compromise on it? No, it is a non-negotiable factor for me. So you see that as an important and non-negotiable factor. So that is what we call as one of the most important factors, and that is in quadrant number 1. All right. So that is why region goes to quadrant number 1 in the decision matrix, as you can see on the side. Then coming to employment trends, I say, you know what, I want 90,000 pounds per annum, and it's a very important parameter for me. It is non-negotiable for me. And again, it goes into that column. Cost, you say, you know what, 80,000 pounds per living expenses. Again, it's an important factor for me, and I don't want to compromise on the cost. Okay, and then duration, of course. You say duration is an important factor, but it is okay. I don't care. Like, it can be 1 month, 1 year, it can be like 1.5 years. I don't really mind. So I can negotiate on it to some extent, but it's an important factor for me. So duration goes to quadrant number 4. All right. So as you can see, now my this thing is back. So I'm going to be highlighting it to see, for example, you can see that, oops. Just give me 1 second, folks. My just mouse is behaving weirdly. Okay, I think the mouse is behaving weirdly, and there we go. All right, so yeah, now it's better. Okay, so you can see that these 3 parameters, they all went to quadrant number 1. Okay, I hope that you guys are seeing it on your own screen, and I'm making it bigger if you want to here. See these 3 parameters of region, employment trends, and cost, because they're a very important parameter and you do not wish to negotiate on them, they come under quadrant number 1, and there we have it. Okay, now the quadrant number 2, oh sorry, so this is like, yeah, so quadrant number 2 here or 4 here would be again the duration of the course, the location of the school, and things like that. So you guys get the drift, I hope, right? And how it works in terms of moving along the decision matrix by ranking every parameter and then deciding how important it is to you. So essentially, you are developing your own ranking. You are now making sense of all the factors that are available, and you're deciding which is going to be very important for you and which is something that you're not compromising at all. Okay. See, I can tell you some stories here. Just give me 1 second. Yeah, there I have it. See, for some people, region can be very, very important. See, for example, I had a couple of students who applied together, and when they wanted to go to the same, they wanted to go to London. So they said that, hey, London or anywhere near London is okay, but they didn't want any other place. So for them, it was a non-negotiable parameter. So even though there are better schools, for example, elsewhere, they wanted to go to London. It was something that was non-negotiable and very important to them. On the other hand, I had a student who said, I don't care where I go and study, as long as I can study about the topic I'm interested in. Okay, and they were like, okay, with like they said that my cost has to be only so much, and I have a budget. I do not want to go beyond that cost. All right. So what I'm trying to tell you is these criteria are very different for different people. Everybody obviously will say that cost is necessary, the region is necessary, the location is important, etc. But to some people, it might mean more than to some other people. All right. So like this, what you do is you fill up your decision matrix and you know which are the parameters that are very important to you. So column number J, which will contain the most important parameters there. See, if you see that, column number J is going to contain the most important parameters, and out of these, the non-negotiable parameters are the ones that are going to be critical to you. All right, so this is the first step in trying to make sense of the factors. Okay, and I'm going to tell you about the qualitative factors. See, we all saw the quantitative factors are very easy. The type is a full-time MBA or it's a part-time MBA, right? Now, class size, you know that I like big class size, like meaning it can be beyond, big can mean beyond 400 and so on and so forth, right? And of course, the particular school location and everything also matters. So similarly, you will start looking at the qualitative parameters and then also telling about, hey, how important is the culture of the school? Some people might say it is very important. I want to go into a collaborative culture. Some people will say I want to go into a competitive culture. Some people will say that I want to go into a place where there is a lot of scope of flexibility. Okay, example, IE School of Business. Some people will say that no, I want flexibility in terms of duration, but I do not want flexibility in terms of the actual program content. Example can be LBS. All right. So like this, you know that there are many parameters that come under the quantitative parameters, and you can start like putting down your importance and the degree of negotiability to these factors as well. All right, and then of course you can start working through it and with the decision matrix. So coming back to what we were discussing, what did we do now? There are so many factors we had a very neat way of identifying what are the factors that are very important to us, and then accordingly putting them into various quadrants, and of course, like, trying to work on it. Okay, now I guarantee you guys, and I want to do like a kind of a thing right now. See, it's close to 6:32 right now, and I want you to think about what's your. I'm going to tell you how to do the research about a school in 10 minutes. And this is the procedure I'm going to follow for a couple case studies I'll be taking up in a minute. Okay, you're going to look at the class profile. You are going to look at like how is the curriculum and the pedagogy, what is the structure of the program, what is academics. You're going to look at the employment statistics, as I told you, very important when you're thinking about it. You will look at what are the career management services offerings. Okay, and last but not the least, you're going to look at the unique features of the program. And I'm going to be following this exact logic in order to show you a couple things right now. And let's go. So let me just get your. All right, so there we go. I'm going to be starting it here. So this is also included. So I'm going to go to Ross MBA. Why? Because a lot of my students get placed there. And of course, it's my alma mater and I like them. But anyway, so I'm going to go into the full-time MBA Michigan Ross. And the clock's already started, if you guys note. So the first thing I asked you to look at was the class profile, and that's exactly what we're going to do. The other easy thing is leverage the power of your Google and then go to class profile directly. All right, but I like to like show you guys how it's done here, so I'm going to do it. See, when you look at Ross, you're having everything on the homepage. You have like your new alum, what they're doing, etc. You have their like features being advertised right here. You have your recruitment and careers being discussed, and then you also have the student ambassadors talking about their own experiences. So all of it is available right here. But what did I want to start with? I wanted to start with the class profile. So one way to do it is obviously look for it and see. When I see Ross, another thing. Yeah, so when you look at the full-time MBA program, right, so you have everything right here. Okay, so you don't even have to go for anything of that sort. And then we have the class profile right here. Okay, so 1 minute you got the class profile, so you can look at it in a second, and then you can say, you know what, the class profile was 720 average GMAT, 3.5, 380 was the class size, 5.6 is the average work experience, it has gone up from last year, and so on and so forth. Okay, and then of course you can have more details. How many people or a percentage of people were international, that has come down actually. And then where were the industry background of the people. Engineering is only 3% as compared to all the other consulting, health and finance and education. So you guys know your chances if you're an engineer getting into Ross. What's the average score, what is the range, etc., etc. What is the race and ethnicity, because this is something that they have to declare to the US government, and so on and so forth. So number one, class profile check. I got the information in a second. Click on this again. On the right side, you see this. I'm going to go into curriculum. So curriculum is super simple. Again, I'm going to look at like, what is all here, what is all available here. But when I go into curriculum, sorry, I just clicked the wrong thing. I can go look at the curriculum, the specializations, the real business experiences, global opportunities, etc. And I can do that one by one, right? So you can always do that here. So give me a second while I try to open it up, and there we go. I'm going to look at the curriculum here and then decide on how is the structure at Ross School of Business and what do they teach us and blah, blah, blah. All right, so here again, real is nothing but their business experiences and the different types of things that are available. But then here is your curriculum in a second. So they tell you that MBA 1 means the first year of MBA. It shows that it's a 2-year program. And then what do you achieve in MBA 1 versus MBA 2? What are the core courses? What are the other things? And what are some of the additional degree requirements that you can take up? All right. Second thing done. Let's go to employment opportunities, or what we call as careers. Both of them are available in the same place. Yay. So you can see that you have the employment data, which tells you what is there. And you can also tell about the careers here. So you can look at, for example, if you want to go into consulting, you can go there, entrepreneurship and so on. One reason I picked Ross is if you guys do not know what are all the possible management positions that are available for you after you graduate from an MBA, this is a wonderful place to start. All right, so careers are right here and you can obviously go into any of it. I'm choosing operations today because why not? And once you choose it, it will just take you and then tell you like what is it that you need in order to go for it. Okay. Oops. All right. So the next part of it, sorry, my internet is taking a little while, and there we go. So when you go to operations and careers and operations, it talks about who are the people offering, what is the kind of salary, how many people went into operations, what was your signing bonus, and you have all the details that you need in order to go. So how do you know you can get into it, and how can you add an operations specialization for your MBA? Where can you do the specialization? Okay, and then there's something called as map, and I'm going to come to it in a minute. That is a unique thing that is very specific to Ross, but I'll come to it in a minute. Okay, and then they tell you other details that are available for you and other courses that you can take in order to get into the operations thing. So three things are done. The fourth one is employment data, which is very important. So again, see, if you want to know here, see there are many other things for application as well and admissions as well. Sorry. All right. So here I'm going to employment data, very, very important piece of document. This tells me, for example, how much salary did they get, what is the base, what is the base range, blah, 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 etc. by function. And by function is something that is always very useful to people, where they say that, hey, how many of them went into human capital consulting versus management consulting, right? You can see that 30% went to management consulting versus internal consulting was a little lesser. Okay, and it also pays for finance. And I have to tell you that Ross is a very good school to get into for investment banking. You do have a lot of placements there, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this is not just the one. They talk about internships. They talk about like who are the recruiters, how many people did they hire full time and part time that year, and a lot of details that are available here. And as you can see that McKinsey, Amazon, Bain, Boston Consulting Group, and EY Parthenon, all of them, which are consulting companies, did really well and they hired a lot of people. Okay. Now, if for example you want to go to Google, Google just hired 7 people last year. All right, but then you all know why. Probably there's a hiring freeze in many of these companies, but you know, right? So if your aim is to go to Google, then you know that there's more competition. But if your aim is to get into consulting, you know that Ross is a wonderful school to get into for consulting out here. So that took us all the points, and then we talk about, hey, what's so unique about this program? And that is where you can always go to the the uniqueness about the program will always be given there under curriculum or admissions or even the student experience. And here, sorry, oops, I'm just oh yeah, there we go. So here you can see what are all the different options that are available at Michigan. So you can see that they have multiple courses, which is like co-curricular courses. They talk about MAP, which is like a Michigan Action Project, I think, or I forget what M stands for. But there is MAP. MAP is something which is an action-based learning, which is 7 weeks full-time consulting for everybody at Ross School of Business. So this is like a wonderful opportunity for someone to know how the business world works. Then they have like investment also, and you can run a real fund by yourself, and of course there are many funds that you can run. So if you're really interested in trading and private equity and VC and other things, this is a very good place for you to get started. So when I look at what we call as unique experiences and features, definitely MAP, right? MAP is something that comes to mind because it's very unique to University of Michigan. And I'm going to show this here. You guys should what? Sorry, the multidisciplinary action projects. That's what they called. I was thinking it's Michigan action projects. No, it is multidisciplinary action projects, and this is like a very good place for you to start. Okay, so within less than 10 minutes, and it is 6:42 right now. We started at 6:32. Within 10 minutes, you are able to get all the key points that you needed for a particular program. Okay, all right. So I chose an easy program because Ross does a very good job of like putting things on there. you know what? Let's go to Kellogg. So Kellogg MBA, let's say class profile, for example, and let's go to Kellogg and see, is it this easy in order to make research about a particular program? The answer is yes. It's not that complicated at all, because in a second, just by putting class profile, you can find the class profile. And the Kellogg is again one program which is very, very structured. Now, see, you guys might want to look at multiple programs, right? So, example, 1-year program, 2-year program, MBA. MBA is something that got released last year. They're very, very excited about it. And they have other programs as well. So, you would want to, when you talk about class profile, they always talk about the 2-year MBA program. That's your flagship program. And they again have a lot of guidelines. They tell you like what is the average GMAT score. It's much higher than what it was at Ross, as you can see. And then like the topic, so the top, program, sorry, the top industry by which people are going. And you know, the top industry doesn't change much when you're looking at Ross versus Kellogg. Okay, but what changes is undergraduate major, a lot of them are STEM here, versus in Michigan, it was only 3%, if you remember, right? So like this class profile, 1 minute, and then I can go and then find out what is my career development. So that is going to take a couple minutes, and in under career development, you will not only have information about the, you can always get like where did they get jobs. So majority of them get placed in Chicago, no doubt, because Kellogg is there. And then they talk about like who are the people hiring. You will have to download the full report because that's where the details are. All right. Then they talk about what I told you is the career management services, which is a very important piece. So they tell you like how you get a one-on-one career coaching, and then what are all the things that you get. So this is the other piece that we saw. It is also available in Ross. I'm just showing it to you in Kellogg, and this is another thing that you can talk about and think about, right? So for example, if you want to change from, say, you are an equity research analyst and you want to move to investment banking, so this kind of working with the CMC team or the career management team at Kellogg can help you. I think they call Career Management Center here, CMC. That's what they call, I guess, right? So again, everybody is going to tell you how much money they made, what is the signing bonus, how many people got a job within 3 months after graduation. Okay, so that is what I told you. So it hardly takes you, this was all done in 3 minutes. And then if I want to know more about the program, sorry, the curriculum, I go to academics, very simple. And I find out all the things about academics, as well as I find what is so unique about the program. So here, see, this is the majors and pathways is very important. Not only that, the features are going to be your experience in terms of global MBA, the experiential learning that you're having, just like how Ross has done. And of course, the majors and pathways are important because it tells you what flexibility do you get, what can you choose, how can you choose it, and then so on. So like how Ross had it for the career page, even Kellogg has pathways for example, I'm going to go to data analytics. I didn't talk about data analytics today, but you all know that's super important in today's world. And you can see that, how do you go into data analytics field? Example, what kind of foundational courses will you take? How can you take up some other courses? What is the experiential component of it? And then how can you take more advanced courses like in terms of a deep dive? Okay, so this is the curriculum basically. So for example, if I want to go back and change it, I can do it, and so on and so forth. All right, then the features that I told you will come under student culture, because the feature is not just what they teach you, how they teach you, etc., but it's about the experience. This is where you get all your information about the qualitative stuff. So for example, you see that it's a diverse community that emphasizes on philanthropy a lot more. Evanston is a beautiful suburb, really, really expensive suburb, but beautiful. Kellogg has a lot of trips and global treks that are part of it, and so on and so forth. So you get to know all the clubs and trips and the diversity and community, the partners and families, everything here. And it's going to hardly take you about 10 minutes in order to locate it, as well as gain that experience, that information that you need. Okay, so with that, what did we just do now? Within hardly like 15 minutes, I just showed you in practice all these things. right? I showed you like, hey, look, there are so many factors that are out there, but don't get so worried about it. There is a beautiful method by which you can consider the factors that are important to you, and you can start researching about the availability of these important factors in the different programs like how I showed you. How can you do it? You can look at the class profile, the curriculum and pedagogy, your employment statistics, the career management services offerings, CMC at Kellogg, it is called different at Ross. Don't worry about what they call it. You know, a rose is a rose is a rose, right? So don't worry about what they call the career management services or center or whatever. But then you also get an opportunity to look at the unique features. So this was very, very simple and doesn't really take too long. And we already saw the couple examples. I like to bring this up is because they are very neatly organized. And of course, there are so many programs out there like Stanford, Harvard, Wharton, but I really like these two for the way and the simplicity by which they have kind of put together stuff on their website. Okay. So what do we do just now? We have already looked at it. So we know how to say whether a parameter is very important. I don't want to negotiate on this. And we know to say, you know what, I don't really care about the duration. I'm okay to negotiate on it. And you say, hey, I don't really care about the class size. I don't care if it is a short class or a it's not important to me. I don't really, I can negotiate on it. It's not important to me, so I don't worry about it, right? So depending on different things, and I do have people at every step, like who talk about like this way. All right. So we also saw this how to do the decision matrix. If we remember, I showed you how to put it in quadrant 1 and 4, and then how to get going. Here is an example which I will be showing you in a second. Is that you think about what is more important to you, what is least important to you, right? And similarly, what is negotiable? See, when I say negotiable, what do you mean is you're willing to change it. Example, cost is an important factor. So, for example, I'll only spend 1 crore, okay? But then I'm okay to make it 1.25 crore if needed, or if it is 75 lakhs, it's fine for me. That's what I mean. That's what is the meaning of negotiable, right? You're okay to kind of change it. Okay, so coming to this, I'm going to show you the sample one, which we already saw right now. So basically, we're going back to the sheet, and that is a sheet that's going to give you a lot of clarity. Okay, so are you guys excited about the sheet so far? Can you just give me a yes or a no in your questions box? Because trust me that, after having worked with so many people, every time, they had a difficulty in trying to say why they wanted to go to Harvard. Why do they want to go to ISB? Why do they want to go to Kellogg? Right? So now we were able to help them with the tool which helps you to add more things. And you know what? The beauty of this tool is that you can keep expanding as many parameters as you want. Okay, so for example, we have the region research worksheet and industry research worksheet and cost of finance worksheet, which themselves are very solid worksheets which are there. Okay, because the next month we'll be looking at the region research worksheet. Last month we looked at the employment trends. You might be wondering, why did you look at the employment trends first? Because my question is, why are you going for an MBA otherwise? You are going for an MBA to improve your career and to get a better job and to get better salary. So that is kind of fix it. So that is where we looked at industry research worksheet last year. So if you guys look at this, that is where I am. I'm going to highlight this. These 3 things is what I'm talking about right now. And next month, we're also going to look at the cost of abundance worksheet. So I can expand these as much as I want. I can ignore any of the parameters as much as I want. It is your ranking. You can do it anyway. All right. So I want to show you the sample research. Okay. So now let's see. I went to I went to the Ross website. I went to the Kellogg website. Okay. And we saw all the numbers. So let me just take, for example, I'll just say GMAT was 720, right? And then here I write GMAT is going to be like 729, right? So, and I forget class size was 380 something, and I forgot the other class size. So whatever. So I'm just saying. So if it is, for example, a number like this, I can even add one more like row, And sorry, I'm just going to add this, and I want to show you guys how I can add things to this particular document. I'm sorry if it's a little small on your screen. I just want to show you guys here. Sorry. And but of course, when you guys are working on it, it's much easier, right? So I can keep adding as many parameters as I want, okay? But most importantly, you should be talking about what we call as the comments column. All right. So in the comments column, you're going to say that, you know what, my GMAT, my GMAT score is around the 710. All right, so it is a bit tough. I need to take the GMAT again. Just 1 minute while I type it in, and I promise that I'll make it bigger because we are looking at certain things. 1 minute, yeah, there you go. Okay, so I can add any parameter I want to this list and keep on doing it. And this is just how I'm showing you. But most important is what we call as a comment. This comment that you see here is a very important parameter. All right. So because it's not about the fact. So here you're going to write fact. Here you're going to write a fact. Okay. Here you're going to write a fact. But then you're going to write about what we call as, see, what is your opinion about the fact? Okay. And then you're going to write like, what is your remark? What is your observation? What is your understanding of it? Okay. Or rather, you can even think about how is the fact affecting your decision. All right, so you can always think about it like this. All right, so let's just go to the sample. And I'm going to show you 3 different ways here. Again, I'm just keeping it small. I really hope that you guys have downloaded this. This is for people who join us later. Please download this worksheet and you will be able to see this bigger on your screen. I'm just keeping it like this because I want to show you a couple of things. All right, so see, you have decided what is going to be your ideal preference, and then I'm just going to highlight a few things here so that you can see. Yeah, so you have decided what is your preference and whether you're willing to compromise on the factor and whether the factor is important to you. After that, you went to the ISB page, just like how you went for Ross, and you found out all the details in less than, as I told you, less than 10 minutes. You know it is located in India. I'm just going to make it bigger. You know it is located in India. It has like 34 lakhs is the package average that they get. 40 lakhs is what you have to pay. 1 year course, full-time MBA. They have 929 students and is located in Hyderabad and Mohali. So very easy, hardly took you a minute to write it. But then what is the most important one is your comment. Okay, you're saying that, hey, this satisfies the requirement of region. I wanted to be in India and I'm in India, great. Okay, and it's one of the best ROI schools. It gives me a great ROI, right? And the 1 year is perfectly fitting into my own plan. And then the type of MBA it has, like the PGP full-time MBA, which is like important to me, that is good enough, right? And then it has one of the largest class sizes, and I'm very happy with it. I want to be in a large class size so that I can build my network. Okay, and so on and so forth. So it just says good employment opportunity and so on and so forth. And then they say this is the culture of the school, this is the motto of the school, and then I'm okay with it. This is how the quality is there. A lot of them are like 63% men and 37% women. I think it's going to be a perfect fit for my current work experience and so on and so forth. So what you will see here is the comment. So as I told you, the most important thing is you are going to get a fact. The fact takes you hardly a minute to get, but the most important thing is your fact, understanding of the fact and how it's going to affect your decision, okay, and how it is going to happen, right? So another thing to note is you will check whether the school is satisfying your requirements or not, because you have specified certain requirements here, right? And ISB has to satisfy that requirement that you wanted. So for example, this person said that they are willing to spend even up to 80,000 pounds. Okay, so the 40 lakhs is well within the budget in that case. All right, now the second school they did, which is London Business School, it is 97,000 pounds, but this person was willing only to put 80,000 pounds, right? So they said that cost is a very important and non-negotiable factor for them. But so that means that London Business School is not satisfying their requirement as per this one. So they can only consider this when they have a scholarship, right? As they are mentioning. Okay. So like this, you can see that your understanding of it, your interpretation of the fact, and how it suits your purpose is the most important thing. It is not, when you do research, it is not about like locating the numbers and then adding it here. Okay. And to prove this point, right? So I want to do an exercise right now. Give me 1 minute. I'm gonna keep this Kellogg, right? So for example, to fill the class profile for Kellogg, 1 minute while I share the right screen to you. Give me a minute. There we go, that was Kellogg. So if I want to go to the class profile and then take the class profile of Kellogg, it is hardly going to take us a second to do it. Okay, but then how do I understand? See, I wanted to be in a small class size of around 200 or less, and Kellogg has the 503. So that is going to affect my experience of studying there. But more importantly, let's look at it. See, I wanted to be in a class where the work experience is much lesser, right? But then I didn't want to be in a class where there are too many engineers. But then looks like that's what is happening in Kellogg. A lot of them are coming from business background or from the STEM field. Okay, so like this, you can make your own parameters and your own things. And the most important thing to understand is to add those comments and then start working on it. All right, and that's all it is. It's a very straightforward process. You're going to first list down what matters to you the most, and then you're going to do research about the school, and then you're going to verify whether the school satisfies your criteria or not. That's it at the end of the day. Okay, so doing research has a lot of benefits. Number one, it establishes fit with the school. It is going to make it easy for your interviews. It's going to help you write your essays and the documents, and then of course it is going to help you make an informed decision as to whether you should go to the school or not. All right, now what are you going to get from us is you're going to get from us like the list of schools that are going to be there, and when you are ready, in meaning when you come to us for the application strategy session, like when you're just ready to apply and you have all the pieces of your application together, we will tell you whether Harvard is ambitious for you or ISB is reach for you, or like ISB is safe for you and things like that. Okay, that's one of the biggest advantages that you'll get. So you don't have to worry. See, for example, Kellogg wanted 729 and Michigan wanted 720. It doesn't mean that that is enough, right? Like, so if you get 720, doesn't mean that you'll get selected in Ross. No, it doesn't mean that. All right, so like that, you will be able to get a better understanding. When you begin your research, I always say that, hey, try to understand the culture of the program that you're getting into by looking at a virtual tour. There are tons of them available. Look for like a day in the life of an MBA student videos out there. Check the school website, and you first picture yourself as being part of the classroom. So when you start with this visualization exercise, it gives you an idea about how you want to stay there and what you want to do. Okay. And then, as I showed you, I did show you about the student experience at Kellogg. And I also showed you about in Ross also you have a student culture. So where they tell you about admissions blogs, current students blogs, a lot of LinkedIn posts by the current students, etc. So all these are other ways in order to know the school better. And definitely, if you say that I want to go to Ross, you better go and attend some of those events and show the interest. How can you show the interest? You have to go to the events they organize, connect with alumni because they can be good people who will put in a word for you later, connect with the current students and the AdCom and everybody. So for this, you need your resume. And if you guys have not done the resume, I will really, really request you to come for the CV bootcamp happening Thursday so that you can get your resume done and then start connecting with the AdCom and everybody else. Okay. Now, how do you do the research for these schools? I said about MBA, and then people are asking, hey, what about specialized business masters? Is it the same? The thing is that MBA always has a lot of information, because every school is going to fight with each other in order to provide the information to you so that they can get you. And then it might be tough for you to understand the culture in a program without talking to the students and other people. All right, so you might wonder, hey, what is culture, right? It is like, for example, Chennai Super Kings versus Kolkata Knight Riders. So both teams have a certain culture going on. Both people win, right? So that is what we mean by the culture. It is like, it is different for every B school, and that is there. So some of the problems that you might have when you're doing the research for MBA is that you may not know about the culture firsthand, and that is exactly why you do the first hand interviews with people. Okay, and then it's hard to find the difference between schools, and I'll also tell you later as to why. Is because many of the schools use the same marketing from other places actually. Sometimes two schools use the same marketing agencies in order to like develop their content, and that is actually true. But it is very hard to find a difference between, say, a Darden under Yale, under Ross, and a Fuqua, okay, or even Kellogg, Wharton, Stanford, Harvard, if you do not know what to look for. Because trust me that academically and even career wise, they can definitely provide you everything, right? That's there. And there are just, the problem is that there are just so many rankings. It's not just a problem they don't have any ranking, it's just so many rankings. All right. Now, for specialized business masters, you may not have complete details for some of the programs. Example, MS in accounting, MS in marketing. You may not have all these data. At that time, you guys can go and check the MBA data to get a sense of like who comes there. All right. When I say who comes there, I'm talking about the recruiters who come and obviously like, recruit the people. Okay. Now, specialized business masters are very small classes. You don't have such big ones, and it's hard to find rankings, that are there for these. I have to warn you, like every time, that it is hard to get into the schools. So don't think it is easy. It is not. If you're looking at any of the top programs across the world, many of them demand that you have a very high GMAT score, and of course, or high GRE score as well. Okay. So as always, just wanted to quickly check a couple things before I go away now. I'm just going to launch a couple polls. Wanted to understand your work experience right now. I'm just going to keep these polls open very short, for a short while, so that we can focus on the questions that you might have for me. Very nice, excellent. All right. So what intake are you guys targeting? The numbers, sorry, like when I say August, September 2023, and I'm talking about round one, fall 2024, I'm talking about deadlines and when you apply, right? Okay. Okay, very nice, everybody. Thank you so much for your votes. A lot of you are applying the next intake only, right? Round one, round two. And awesome. Have you guys already started researching the programs? If not, today is a beautiful day to start. I really want you to do. You already have your research worksheets open, and it took you less than 10 minutes to do it. And I showed you how, right? So go ahead and then get it started. We also have a wonderful resource coming for your way. We have done B school showdowns, meaning that we have like looked at 3 or 4 schools in the same region, which are the top schools. Example, if you're looking at India, you will look at ISB, you will look at IIM Ahmedabad, the PGPX program, and then you look at IIM Bangalore, the EPGP or the MBA program, right? So we did like a comparison of all these 3 programs so that you get an idea to get started with, okay? So we are going to be doing more of it, and then we'll be putting it on the LMS, sorry, the Career Labs classroom that you saw. And so tell me about which are the factors. So of course, like you might consider many other factors and all of it as well, but These are what we call as primary factors for everybody. Like for many people will have an opinion about it, and it will make or affect your decision as to why you're choosing a program. All right, so just think of it that way, and you will have better clarity as well in terms of it. Okay, and so I want you to like recollect why doing research on these schools is important for you. Okay, people tell me, hey, I thought I signed up for you, right? You should do the work for me. No, no. Do please note that there's a difference between getting the information and trying to make sense of the information. Okay, getting the information is very easy, as I showed you, but trying to make sense of the information only you can do, because only you can know as to why you like a program or you don't like a program, right? Absolutely, you guys are spot on and like 100% great students, because you got the very right answer for it. Okay, now tell me about, what do you think is the most critical component as far as the application is concerned? And I wanted to tell you this because this is very relevant to the screen that you're seeing. And a lot of people have thinking, certain way of thinking, this is most important, the other one is most important, etc. Okay, so I'm just going to show you quickly. Okay, this is what many people said. Okay, there was no right answer or wrong answer for this particular question. The reason for that is because, as everything else, it depends. It depends on what? It depends on your profile. So you cannot say that, hey, GMAT is the most important criterion, or finalizing your career goals is the most important criterion, right? If you don't, I mean, if you make a mistake with any of the ones on screen, example, you don't know which career goals are like aligned with the future MBA goals. You don't have a good GMAT score or a competitive GMAT score. A competitive GMAT score will be, if Kellogg won 729, you have at least 30 points more than that. So that means you're competitive. If you have 729, right? You won't have 729, you'll have 730, for example. If you have a 730, you're at average. So getting a competitive score, and then shortlisting the right schools for yourself. So that is where the program options come into play, right? And we show you this during your profile gap analysis. And not identifying the right recommenders can be it can be one of the biggest problems that you have, right? And then not finishing the logistics on time can prevent you from going. So these are all the things that are there. Okay. So anyway, I want you to think about three things. Tomorrow we have a career goals workshop. I'm pretty excited because I have some new stuff for you all, which I want to show. CV Bootcamp is there on 16th. This is for those of you who have not had a chance to like work on your resume. And then there is going to be special LinkedIn workshops, two of them. One is for your profile and one is for networking. This is only for those people who have completed your resumes and your CV, because you cannot update your profile without having something to start with. All right. So this is going to be some of the trust me that it's a very important learning I have learned over the past 1.5 years by being on LinkedIn, and in fact like being recognized as a LinkedIn creator. So I want to share all this with you, and then I want to tell you about how can you leverage your LinkedIn for getting into business school. All right. Now tell me, like, what do you think according to you is the most challenging part of the application for you right now? Okay, all right, sorry, just was waiting for your answers, and there we go. Thank you, everybody. A lot of you are, it's kind of like everything is getting, but I think writing CVs, SOP is a writing part of stuff, right? This is something that you have to like get used to. If one of the best things that people learn out of the MBA application is to how to communicate. Okay. Right now, are you confused about selecting any of these while you are thinking about it? See, when I say specialization, I'm talking about, see, whether you want to go into technology, marketing, operations, sustainability, like that. Program is like whether you want to go for an MBA, you want to go for full time, part time. Intake is like, do you want to go for fall? Do you want to go for spring? Okay. And if it's other, please let me know in the chat. I can help you out with it. So do not worry. So we know that there are many confusions about this, and we will be sharing information with you and discussing with you in your profile mentoring session that will happen afterwards, right? Now tell me about what you think is a good score for what we call as competitive advantage. Think carefully. Okay, everyone says this. See, obviously you want to get the highest possible, no? But that said, depending on the school to which you're going, even getting like, within 691 to 730 might be okay for a school which is having 650 as a GMAT. All right. So it really depends on the average at the school. But that said, you really want to get the highest one that is possible for yourself. And last but not the least, couple things before I go, and I have a couple questions that people have asked me. What did you think was important for you in today's session? Okay. All right, thanks everybody. So you did say this, and I promise I'm going to answer the questions in a minute. So see, some of the questions here was, okay, so one question is like, so how do I know if it's the right school? See, trust me, once you start doing the research, you have like more options coming up for you, and the more research you do, the more easy it becomes for you. All right. So that is something that you'll have to know. You first at the beginning it looks like a little complicated, right? But it's not. Trust me. This is one of the things that people have found it very useful, especially the B School research worksheet, because it allows you to keep on adding different parameters and things that are very important for you and to make your own ranking. Okay, and it's something that has helped many people in terms of identifying which programs satisfy the criteria, soon. All right. So with this, I'm going to come to the close of the webinar, but I wanted to get your feedback. Please give me your feedback in terms of how we can make it better for you. And these sessions are going to be there every month. And as you know, the next session is on 16th March. The Career Goals workshop is tomorrow. CV Bootcamp is 16th March, and your next focus of the month webinar will be on 21st of April. Right. So thank you everybody for your time and we went a little bit over today, but I hope that you could get more insight on how to do one of the most critical items, which is obviously like choosing your B school to which you want to apply. And happy learning till I see you next time. Take care.